Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Fiber Broadband Association's Fiber for Breakfast. We're now in our 12th episode of 2022. Before we kick off, I'd like to thank our sponsors of Fiber for Breakfast, including our platinum sponsor, Broadband.Money, our gold sponsor, Jonar Tools, Millennium, and MyBundle.tv, and our silver sponsor, STL. Today, we kick off our series of regional Fiber Connect workshops beginning in Baton Rouge. These will be one-day workshops to help communities prepare for fiber broadband infrastructure builds. In addition to Baton Rouge, we'll be in Providence, Rhode Island on April 19th, Nashville as part of our pre-conference workshops on July 12th, and then Copper Mountain Resort in Colorado on August 23rd, and in Columbus, Ohio on November 3rd. So we hope to see you there, and Jennifer will put some Regional Connect and registration information into the chat. I'm very excited about today's Fiber for Breakfast session. Today we're going to be discussing Fiber Connect 2022 sets the agenda to close the digital divide. But before I formally introduce today's guests, I'd like to introduce Trish Ehlers from our team, who's going to walk us through some housekeeping items.
Thanks, Gary, and good morning to everyone who's joined us today. Before I go over a few logistical items, I'd once again like to thank our Fiber for Breakfast sponsors: Platinum sponsor, Broadband.Money, Gold sponsor, Jonar Tools, Millennium, and MyBundle.tv, and Silver sponsor, STL. Now, if everyone would keep in mind that you're all in listen mode only, to ask a question, just type it into the question box located within your control panel. We will host a Q&A session with our panelists at the end of today's webinar. This presentation is being recorded and will be available to members only on FBA's website within 24 hours. You can find the recording in the Events tab under the Fiber for Breakfast drop-down option. At the conclusion of the presentation, you'll be prompted to complete a brief feedback survey. Please take a moment to do so. We really appreciate your input. And I'll pass it back to Gary now to introduce our panelists and get us started. Gary?
Thanks, Trish, and good morning. I'm Gary Bolton, the President and CEO of the Fiber Broadband Association. Last week we had a great session with my very good friend, Dr. Douglas Sicker, the Executive Director of BTAG, and the former CTO for the FCC. He was also a former CTO for NTIA, and along with his colleague, Greg White, the BTAG Twig editor on the primary factors directly affecting end-user internet performance in last week's session, Broadband Latency Explained. I'm a big fan of BTAG reports, and it appears from the size of last week's audience that quite a few folks are really interested in better understanding latency and its impact on subscriber experience. Greg did a great job on explaining the difference between idle latency and working latency, and hopefully we can leverage BTAG's work to help ensure that NTI can incorporate a good definition of latency into the network performance requirements for the BEAD program. Today, we're going to be speaking with my great friends, Joseph J.J. Jones, the Fiber Broadband Association's board member and chair of the Fiber Connect Conference Committee and EVP at On Trac, as well as Rich Williams, the Fiber Connect Program Director and President of Connect2 Communications on Fiber Connect 2022 sets the agenda to close the digital divide. Last year, Fiber Connect in Nashville was an amazing event. The energy, excitement, and the vibe from the event remind me of the way I felt in the late 1990s when the internet was just starting to take off. It was an exciting and historic time. And we're now at the beginning of another incredible investment cycle in our industry. And this year's Fiber Connect is shaping up to be the most exciting event in our industry. Joseph Jones, JJ, is the EVP at On Trac. He's a Fiber Broadband Association board member and Fiber Connect conference chair. JJ spent his entire career in the telecommunications industry, which has spanned over 25 years. JJ has vast experience from field installation services, quality assurance functions, administrative roles to operations, which includes over 25 various cable and fiber broadband startups nationwide, and direct involvement in developing operational and customer service strategies that help define On Trac in an increasingly competitive market. Joseph's current role is the Executive Vice President, has him overseeing daily company operations with a focus on company strategy, profitability, and customer relationships. In addition to all those responsibilities at On Trac, he gives countless volunteer hours to the Fiber Broadband Association, and he is currently on the board of directors and is serving as the 2022 vice chairman of the board. JJ has served on and chaired various committees for the past 15 years, including being the Fiber Connect conference chairman for 8 consecutive years, where he oversees the Fiber Connect, which is the industry's leading all-fiber broadband conference. JJ is also a 2-time recipient, 2010 and 2020, of the Photon Award, which recognizes a fiber broadband member who, through their volunteer contribution, has demonstrated a high level of dedication to the organization and to the contributions to the industry. Rich Williams is the founder and president of Connect2 Communications, as well as head storyologist, and he is the 2022 Fiber Connect program director. Since founding Connect2 in 2023, he has helped companies like Acme Packet, Adtran, Metaswitch, Metro Ethernet Forum, Tipping Point, and Verdant Global mix the right elements to serve up stories that enable his clients to achieve corporate, business, market, and sales objectives. Connect2 believes the right story at the right time can change everything. So with all that, welcome JJ and Rich. And for our audience, you can type in your questions as go, and we'll turn it over to JJ to kick things off.
Gary, well, thank you very much for that introduction. For Rich and I, we're excited to join you today. And man, believe it or not, we're less than 90 days away from Fiber Connect 2022. And but I feel like before I kind of set that stage, I've got to go back a little bit and talk about last year. And you kind of highlighted it, Gary, just what an amazing just conference that we had. But I'm going to kind of get a little bit more kind of maybe behind the scenes for our listeners here. You know, you and I took a trip to Dallas, Texas in February of last year in 2021 to the Gaylord Texan, because we were scheduled to have our conference there in June of last year. But just looking at the COVID numbers and kind of where things were nationally, and a lot of companies still with a lot of travel restrictions, we were able to work with the Gaylord property in Nashville there at the Opryland and get our conference moved from Dallas in June to Nashville in July, which got us about another 8 weeks. And, you know, Gary, that really made the difference for us. It really did. And with that move and with what was going on in the industry and what I call COVID fatigue, it was kind of everything, all the stars lined up perfectly for us in a good way. And, you know, what that did for us was give us our best conference in history. And I'm going to go through some stats. I'm kind of a nerd stat guy. And if you look at some of our stats for 2021, just to highlight and recap, we had 2,138 attendees, which was just incredible. Our biggest in our history of 20 years of conferences. Over 413 network operators were in attendance. Over 107 government officials were in attendance. 145 exhibitors, over 165 speakers that covered 55 sessions. And so I felt like just as an association, we just hit it out of the park, and just very proud of what we accomplished last year. But, you know, the one question, you guys kind of have, what have you done for me lately is kind of the saying, but the one question that Rich and I constantly are getting right now is, how are you going to top last year? And that's a very good question, but we feel like we are putting together the program, the agenda that's going to make last year, even as great as it was, this year's going to be even better. And I'm going to let Rich kind of take over and kind of give you an overview of what to expect in 2022 for Fiber Connect.
Yeah, thanks JJ. You kind of threw me for a loop when you said we're under 90 days from the show, because we started working on this back in October, I think. Yeah. Like really looking at what worked well, what didn't, what were the topics we thought were going to be important for the market to hear during this time frame, during June of 2022. So it was a little bit of forecasting, and started working to assemble a lineup of speakers and topics that we think really address some of the opportunities that exist for the market. and will also help operators maximize the opportunity that Gary referenced in the historic funding we're seeing. So I'm excited, particularly excited by the keynotes we have. One of our goals for this year was to have at least 2 keynotes from what we call demand drivers, those companies that are pushing the capacity limits of the network today, right? And we'll be introducing new services and new applications that are going to consume even more capacity. And as fiber goes everywhere, it's going to go everywhere. So we've got Randy Brogel from Meta, he's part of the formerly Facebook connectivity team, and Kevin Leinhardt from TiVo as our demand drivers. And then we have Catherine DeWitt with the Pew Charitable Trust, and she runs their broadband advisory. And she has been watching this market for over a decade and is going to have insights into where things are going, where they could go, where they should go, what opportunities exist. And then we have on Wednesday, so make sure you stay around for Wednesday, Dr. Christopher Ali, who's the author of Farm Fresh Broadband. It's a book that he and his dog got in his car and drove around and talked to municipalities. And these are his insights and recommendations. That's really a fascinating read. And then we have one more keynote that we still have to announce that we're looking to confirm in the next couple of weeks, which we'll share with you. That will be the ideal start to the conference. But looking at having industry and influencers and regulators and policymakers all part of the programming so that we get a complete snapshot of what's possible and what should happen. The theme this year is when capacity is unlimited, the possibilities are limitless. And so you'll see a lot of program we have during the conference is designed to support that. So beyond the actual standalone keynotes, we've got a great mix of speakers and a variety of panels focused on federal issues, state issues, the economic impact of fiber. If you look at these slides, you can see we just got a really good cross-section of basically the entire ecosystem from the fiber broadband industry, from regulators like Laura Spenning from NTIA and Undersecretary Tora Small from the USDA Rural Development, to state broadband offices, Peggy Schaefer from Connect Maine and Taylor Beatty from Nashville, Tamara Holmes from Virginia and Jessica Simpson from Georgia. We've got a great mix of operators of all sizes, really helping contribute and shape the debate. Additionally, we've got great speakers from industry, like NACO for the first time will be speaking at the conference, from ACA, from CTA, right? CTA is really that ecosystem of companies that are putting pressure on the network for capacity. And then of course, solution vendors, municipalities, and utility broadband providers. So just a really good snapshot of everyone involved and what's really going to work together to close the digital divide. And then because while we think it's great when you're at the show, we want to make sure the message is out there. We want to make sure that FBA members know that FBA is becoming a part of your news cycle. We have partnerships with the best brands in telecom reporting, the media sites, as well as analyst firms. And they're all involved in multiple ways, from growing the show in advance to guaranteeing editorial coverage and having editors at the show, to supporting us in social media. During the conference, we have Telecompetitor and Cablefax and ThreatPost that are helping us create content specific to their markets. You know, Lightread will be there with their video booth, and the Verge Digest will be there doing video. All these publications will have editorial coverage. And then, you know, a program we're particularly excited about this year, which is new, and that's the proof of concept program. The analysts will serve as the judges, and awards will be handed out Wednesday morning. So really looking forward to having people participate in that, really showing how your technology or service or application can help operators maximize the opportunity that fiber provides. Again, when capacity is unlimited, the possibilities are limitless, and the POC is a big part of showing how your company can do that.
Thanks, Rich.
That's great. Yeah, it's great content that, you know, our teams have put together, Gary, and to hit on a couple other highlights. You know, go back to some of the stats. We're looking at right now to have over 200 speakers, and so increasing from last year to about 200 speakers, 25% of those being network operator representatives. Going to have over 70 sessions this year, so an increase in that. Can count on already 175 exhibitors, 30 more than last year. And Just excited just about those stats. Also want to kind of touch base on our pre-conference workshops. Last year we had 3, and this year we're making that 5. And so we're going to do the Fiber Broadband Starter Kit workshop, which has kind of been our staple every year, really for the past 6 years. And so in the Fiber Broadband Starter Kit workshop, we're going to cover the community broadband assessment, building community support and political will, the value and impact of research and brand positioning, marketing strategies for new product launches, and lessons learned for network operators. We're also going to be doing one on the fiber infrastructure playbook, where our invitation is to state broadband officers, and we can cover the state broadband office, implementing the BEAD program, grant program design and administration, funding best practices. And so the fiber infrastructure playbook workshop is going to be a great one to attend also. Then we're also glad to, we're able to partner with some organizations, and for one is ACA and CableFax are organizing a fiber panels for cable operators workshop on Sunday. And they're going to be covering the fiber revolution, adding fiber to your marketing plan, and going over a regulatory checklist. And then the future of fiber technologies, which is organized by Broadband Forum, which is part of their broadband acceleration seminar. And then Threat Post is organizing a chief security officer workshop. So excited about the 5 pre-conference workshops. Those take place on Sunday. And so they're pre-conference workshops. When you do the registration for your conference, you'll be able to sign up for the pre-conference workshops as well. So just kind of piggybacking off what Rich said, we have such an incredible lineup of speakers, a lot of great sessions. And these are ways that we feel that we're going to be able to top what we did in 21, Gary.
And if you register before the early bird discount, you get complimentary registration for the pre-conference workshops. So there's some incentive to get your registration done now.
Yep.
Well, thanks, JJ and Rich. I mean, last year was definitely phenomenal, and I can't believe how I didn't think it was possible to have a better event than last year. And when I look at what's happening this year, it is absolutely amazing. Some of the things that kind of excite me is just the quality of speakers. I mean, just when you look at the panels and having, with the BEAD program, the $42 billion, to have NTIA on that panel, and then be able to have, we also have USDA, so we'll have RUS on panels. We have even Jim Stegman, the CEO of CostQuest, who's working on the FCC broadband map. So all the kind of key people that you need to see to be able to get all this money that's coming through, or I'll be able to figure out, what's going to be served and unserved by the mapping and so forth. And then all those key, offices, broadband offices that is going to be doling out that money. It just seems amazing. So I'm pretty excited about that. So JJ, can you talk a little bit about the floors? Can be a little bit different this year too.
Yeah, we're trying to do a new just layout this year to make it, we were hoping to have more exhibitors, which now we've got at least 30 more. So we kind of structured the floor a little bit different. Not sure if we have that slide, but we'll have a link you could go to. But just a great new layout. We feel like it's going to open up the expo floor a little bit more, just through the, the anticipated traffic that we're going to have. And so just a little bit different layout, but nothing, too crazy. But it's going to be just a great format for us moving forward, we feel like.
And so now we have like a fiber zone, and we're going to have, we really, got some really good feedback on the exhibit hall theater. And so that's now in an awesome location, like front and center, right? And we're going to have, so all those will definitely be a million times better than last year.
Yeah, the theater has always been one of those challenging things for us, but kind of putting it front and center, we feel like it's going to bring more traffic, highlight the speakers that are there. In the past, it's kind of been stuck in the back. And so this year, it has a great location. And then also, like you said, you've got the kind of our fiber zone and the POC area that Rich kind of touched on. We're going to be highlighting, all these companies. And so it's just going to be a great layout. You're not going to want to miss it. And we're also expanding our expo hours this year to give our attendees more time to meet with the exhibitors. And so just overall excited about just all the new changes on the expo floor.
So Rich, so one of the things I'm excited about is last year, I was really surprised at our opening reception on Sunday. I was expecting just basically the people who showed up for the workshops to attend, but we pretty much had over 1,000 people attend that, and it was like just amazing time for everybody to reconnect. You have some really great Nashville talent that's coming in for that, right? That's going to be our entertainment.
We do. We have an artist named S.J. McDonald who's going to be playing at that event, and she is amazing. She is definitely on that Nashville list of who to watch next. She's a Virginia native, grew up on a farm in Virginia, and has been in Nashville the last couple of years. Went to Belmont University, major in songwriting, graduated I think 3 years ago, plays regularly all around Nashville. She's invited to singer-songwriter conferences around the country. Just a really bright star that's on the rise. S.J. McDonald, check her out on Instagram and Spotify. She is an amazing artist, and you'll be glad you saw her there.
And so then, JJ, you talked about some new workshops. So what Rich kind of outlined them, but what are the ones that you think would be people should be focused on coming in Sunday for?
One thing, Gary, I'm real excited about is really having something that we're targeting the state broadband offices and officers there, because in the past we've had a lot of attendees from the state broadband offices, but I feel like with our fiber infrastructure playbook workshop, this is really dedicated to them, because as you know, most of the money is going to be coming through the states and through the state level. And so for the officers to be there, all the representatives to really kind of go through what it's going to take from the funding standpoint on, the grants and how you set up the grants, all the application processes, the whole deal is going to be part of this playbook and this workshop. And so I'm real excited about that. And I'm also excited about just our partnerships that we have with ACA, with Broadband Forum, with Threat Post, and just letting them kind of come in, help organize some of these workshops for us. And so just a lot of new things on the horizon for us, but I'm really excited about those taking place this year.
So in the past, we've had our luncheons, right? So Women in Fiber is also, really popular luncheons. Hopefully people register. So the strength of Fiber Connect has always been on its educational track. And, that's been the hallmark of Fiber Connect. But this year it's even going to be better than ever. Can you guys talk about, how this is going to be so much better?
Sure. So we've been working, as I mentioned at the get-go, we've been working on this since October. And we have breakout sessions that cover everything from operator best practices to public-private partnerships to issues you would experience when you're actually in the deployment phase of building out a network. I think it's 10 different breakout session tracks, either running Monday and Tuesday, or just Monday or just Tuesday. And we have some of those that run 2 days are topics like Case Study Central, where people are presenting how they've been able to help communities solve real world problems with innovative fiber networks, to Analyst Take, which is inviting our analyst partners to share their latest cutting edge research about how the market is shaping up. And that will be on Tuesday. So a lot of great information will be shared over these 2 days, and we look forward to people attending the sessions, letting us know what they think. And we've actually already started working on 2023.
So this year what kind of surprises me is the number of press and analysts and equity analysts coming. It's like, triple what it's been in the past, or maybe more. So what's going on? What should we expect to see from those press and analysts?
Yeah, we've got an amazing set of industry press signed up to be official media partners, which means they are promoting the show, they're staying editor to cover the show, they're moderating panels, and the same with the analysts that are these leading analysts that are tracking the market. They're moderating panels, they're judging the POCs. It's pretty exciting stuff. And beyond the ones we have as media partners, which include light reading and light wave and converged digest and telecompetitor and cable fax and many others. We also expect probably twice that amount to come, whether they're a media sponsor or not, to come and cover the event. So it really would, I'd like to encourage companies to look at Fiber Connect as a opportunity to share news, introduce new products, talk about customer wins, talk about case studies, talk about how you're dealing with the channel or dealing with issues that are important to market, because the media will be there to cover and they want to talk to members to see what they're doing.
So this year also, it seems like the audience is expanded. You know, in the past, you know, we had definitely had the experienced service providers from the tier 1s, tier 2s, and a lot of tier 3s. We had municipalities. Last year we started seeing rural electric co-ops, but now we're even seeing beyond that, right? We're co-located with APPA. Joseph, you might want to talk about who those are, and then also kind of now we're tribal, and we're also seeing more cable, and who else is going to be there?
Yeah, a lot of state broadband officers are going to be there. Like you said, APPA is actually co-locating at the Gaylord Opryland as well, doing their conference, which is the American Public Power Association. Several tribal groups we reached out to that we're looking through some partnerships. 7 states is going to be there. Just so many different organizations, and Rich, you know them as well, but I feel like this is the first time in our history, Gary, that we've been able to really establish ourselves through what I would call association partnerships. And so it's just been great. The industry's all kind of going the right direction, working together. And it's just encouraging to have all these groups with us and working with us at the same time.
I think what's one of the things that's exciting to me is that we have so many more people understanding the value and the importance of making the right decision for the network infrastructure, right? It's not, you really can't just take advantage or not really think about the network when you're planning services, whether you're at the community level, whether you're at the application development level. You have to understand that fiber is the one infrastructure that can support the capacity needs you need to scale. So when fiber is everywhere, anything's possible.
Well, we're kind of out of time here, but maybe you guys can just close with each of you providing your closing thoughts on the conference and how you think, you know, the audience is going to benefit from this year.
Well, I would say first and foremost, go register today for Fiber Connect 2022. You thought last year was fantastic. Wait till you get to Nashville for 2022. It's going to even be that much better. And Gary, I'd also want to just take just a minute just to thank all of our sponsors for Fiber Connect. We've had so many great sponsors come through this year, our exhibitors as well. And I also want to say a special thank you to Rich and his team, David and his team over at the MMS and our conference committee. It's all these groups working together that is really making this a success and going to be a success. And so I'm just very grateful for that group of people that's working behind the scenes, putting Fiber Connect 2022, making it a reality.
Yeah, the only thing I would add is one thing we didn't touch on that is an important part of how the industry is going to respond to the demand for broadband and the infrastructure investment from the federal government is we do have a optics train the trainer program at Fiber Connect. So if you're looking for staff and you need to get people trained up to help support your build out, make sure they come and register for the train the trainer so they can take that information back and help teach the next generation of people that will build these networks.
Well, guys, I really appreciate it. And, you know, both of you guys work so incredibly hard. It's hard to believe that you guys have day jobs because of all the work you do. So thank you guys for that. I'm excited about Fiber Connect in Nashville. I'm really excited about our regional Fiber Connect workshops, you know, starting today in Baton Rouge, and then the ones we have coming up in Providence in April and so forth. So I think we're on for a really good run here the next several months. So it's going to be awesome. So thanks again to join us today. And next week, we're going to be discussing measuring broadband performance with Brian Darr, the Vice President of Smart Communities at Ookla. I had some great chats with Ookla, and you're not going to want to miss this one. So we'll see you again next Wednesday.